Hi guys, welcome back. So in this lesson we're going to be looking at chord structure, and I know I touched upon it in the last lesson I think. So let's just get straight on with it. Right click, add an instrument, because we need something to trigger the chord pads, which we're going to use in a second. We're going to use Retrolog again, but we will be using other synths later on in this course, so don't worry about that. But just keeping it simple to start with. Just going to use the standard sound just at the moment, although it's really nasty and really loud. So first of all, just going to turn the cutoff down and turn the volume down, of course, in line with our other instruments, and also so it doesn't blow your ears off. So we want to use chord pads. So this is the cheat version, or the cheat way of making chord structures. So I think I touched upon this. We've already got the F major scale chords already laid out, but just in case if you missed it, just going to go to load chord pads and choose major scale F, or whatever scale you're working on. The 1, 2, 3, 4 chord, and all the way up to 7, of course. Just going to quickly show people that have never seen this before. You've got different voicings with this right hand handle, which is just playing the F chord but in various different positions on the keyboard. Just keep it simple for now and keep it down. When I drag these into the project, we will be messing around with the voicings a bit later on. At the bottom here, you've got tensions. So, different variations, of course. Or you can open the editor and choose your own variation, tension, whatever here. I just also want to show you about the circle of fifths. So this button here, you've got your root chord in the middle, second chord, which aligns down here, second chord G minor, third chord A minor, which is here. So as you can see, these ones in this kind of triangle here are the ones that you'll probably use most of the time, but you can use some of these others, they are related. So what you can do here is just work out a decent chord structure by how it sounds, just by clicking on the mouse. And then you can drag them into the project, drag the chords into the project, and I'll show you that in a second. You can also drag in the chords from this area down here. So my first chord is B flat, and it's mega loud. And we're going to change that to maybe make it a little bit more interesting, but we'll come on to that once we've got the structure done. We're going to do a D minor next, F and G minor. So for anyone that knows about chord structures and like chord 1, chord 2, this structure will be 4, 6, 1, 2. Not quite as well known as some other chord structures, but that's okay, that's absolutely fine. So let's just turn this down a bit, turn off the verse pluck for a second. And we do need to make some changes here because it doesn't sound particularly great. So let's see if we can make this sound a little bit better. First of all, just going to glue all these together. So get the glue tool, do that. So let's go into it and see if we can make this sound a bit better. Zoom out a bit. So this one down here is a bit too low. Doesn't sound particularly great. So let's press Shift and up, and we'll get rid of this one here. I think we'll get rid of these bottom bass notes here. So currently we've got, if you want to know what chords you've got, go to chord editing. This is now a B flat stroke F. That just means that the F, which really should be up there, but we've dropped it down, so it's the bass note. That's why you have B flat stroke F. Just sounds better to me. In fact, let's play that for you. And with the F now as the bass note, yeah, definitely sounds better. This one sounds a bit weird. So it's just a matter of messing around and getting these to sound just a little bit more interesting. And you can do that by playing around with the voicings and obviously the tensions as well. So you might want to add a sus2 in, or a sus4, or a 6 or a 9, whatever. That D's a little bit high for me, so let's just bring that down, shift and down. So this now becomes a G minor stroke D, because the D's on the bass line. And don't forget, we're going to change the sound in a second as well. But the chord structure sounds pretty good at the moment. Let's have a little look at the sound. It's very, very, very boring at the moment. So we'll continue with a saw wave on octave 8. Let's just bring this down. Set up a loop. So just highlight that, Alt and P. And let's sculpt this using the envelope like we did before. So this time I'm going to mess around with the attack of the envelope. So I want this filter to come in nice and slowly, so therefore the pad opens up slowly. And the way to do that is just to bring this one down and the attack up, and of course turn up the envelope here. So now you can hear it opening up slowly. Add a bit of resonance and distortion. When you add distortion, you normally have to turn down the volume a little bit. That's sounding not bad at all. So just going to do the second half of this in just a sec. Let's just see what we've got so far. So let's just copy that over, and then we'll vary it. So just Control D. Let's maybe have the D down one. Don't like the sound of that, so I'm just going to put that back to where it was. So let's duplicate this A. Just make this second half of this chord structure. This is what we're doing. The second half of this chord structure in the verse section of the song. We're just making it a little bit different. So let's just add on. Maybe another little trick to do is just to add another note of the octave of the middle note. Sometimes works well. And that's not coming through very well, so let's just increase the velocity of that so it's a little bit louder. Okay, that's fine. It just takes a little while for the volume to increase. And I want to make this last one different as well. What I ended up doing was, this is currently a G minor stroke D. I actually put it up to C, and I don't think it's an actual chord. When I highlight it, it doesn't come up here, but it sounded okay. I like to experiment. It gives it a weird, maybe it's a borrowed chord, I'm not too sure. It just sounds weird but really nice. And I think I also ended up duplicating this Rogue C. Let's call it Rogue C, because it's a naughty C. And just making a bit more of a feature out of it as well. So it's kind of a chord you're not expecting, but it works. It's really nice. Let's try the whole thing, see what it sounds like. That sounds pretty funky to me. These hats are a little bit loud, and I think they need a bit more reverb on. Just going to lengthen these notes a little bit, so I'm just going to adjust the filter here. and we need to get rid of the low end if there is any. So I'm on the pluck melody here. I'm just adjusting the pluck melody here just to make those notes a little bit longer. This is what production's all about. You change your mind constantly, and whatever, you know, when you start adding in extra elements, you can then hear how it sounds, how it interacts with the other elements, and therefore you may need to start changing stuff. And when we add the vocals in, we may need to change it a little bit more. But I think for now, this, I'm quite happy with this chord structure. What we've done is we've taken the very, very basic chords, chucked them into Cubase, but we've actually amended them. So, you know, we've changed the voicing, and we've even got my own version of a chord on the end here, because it probably came about when I first did this song. It probably came about that I did it by mistake, or just messed around and tried it and it actually sounded good. And when I actually went to look at what the chord was, it isn't actually a chord. But this is, this is all about production. It's about putting your own stamp on your song. You want to be unique. You may want to do things like this, so you're not just the same as every other producer. You want to do different things. So a little bit of a housekeeping. I'm going to call this pad verse because I know there's another pad coming later with a different instrument in a different part of the song. So Shift and enter, and we will just Alt Shift and maybe for now just have it green. So I hope that's useful for you guys, and I will see you in the next lesson. All the best.